What if I told you that cash, the same paper you hold in your wallet, could be the most powerful weapon you'll ever own? Not just for buying things, not just for saving, but for creating freedom, control, and power. Sounds dramatic, right? But that's exactly how the rich think. They don't see cash as a pile of money. They see it as ammunition, something to use strategically to win the financial game while everyone else is busy just surviving it. Now, let me ask you something. Why is it that during every economic crash, the rich somehow come out even richer while the average person sinks deeper into debt? It's not luck. It's not unfair advantage. It's mindset. It's what I call the millionaire mind. And in today's video, I'm going to show you how to think like the rich, how to see cash not as something you chase, but as something you command. Most people don't understand this truth. They work for money, they save what's left, and they hope it'll be enough. But the wealth that make money work for them, they use cash as leverage to buy time, to seize opportunities, and to stay calm when everyone else is panicking. That's why I say cash isn't just money. Cash is a weapon of freedom. You see, I didn't start rich. In fact, I lost everything twice. I was in debt, broke, frustrated, and angry. But the day I realized that wealth wasn't about how much I earned, it was about how I thought about money. That's the day everything changed. I stopped treating cash like something to spend or save and started treating it like a tool, a shield, and a sword. It could protect me and it could strike when opportunity appeared. That mindset flipped my entire life. And here's something most people don't know. Even when I became a millionaire, I didn't invest all my cash right away. I kept liquidity. Why? Because when a crisis hits, when the market crashes, or when everyone's afraid, the people with cash are the ones who can move. They can buy assets cheap. They can negotiate. They can act. The rest are stuck waiting, watching, and worrying. This is what I call the power of position. The rich aren't just smarter, they're prepared. They think ahead. They know that money is only powerful when it's controlled, directed, and deployed with purpose. And in this video, I'll reveal how you can adopt that same mindset, no matter where you're starting from. You'll discover how to think strategically about money. You'll learn how to build cash reserves the way millionaires do. And you'll understand why having cash isn't about fear, it's about freedom. By the end of this video, you won't just see cash as currency, you'll see it as confidence. Because when you have cash, you have options, you have power, you have the ability to make bold decisions, to create your future instead of waiting for it. That's a secret the rich already know, and most people never learn. So if you've ever wondered how millionaires seem to stay calm in chaos, how they keep growing while others shrink, this is your moment to find out. Don't blink, don't skip, and don't leave, because every second of this video will open your eyes to a money hack that can transform your life. Welcome to Harv Eker Motivation, where we dig deep into the millionaire mind, the habits, beliefs, and principles that create lasting wealth. If you're ready to stop chasing money and start mastering it, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now and turn on the notifications, because this journey is just getting started. Before we talk about the mindset of the rich, let's first talk about the man behind this powerful idea, Harv Eker. He's not just another motivational speaker throwing around cliches about success. He's the author of the best-selling book, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, a book that has transformed the way millions of people think about money. Harv Eker built his fortune from nothing, starting broke, failing multiple times, and finally discovering what he calls the hidden programming that separates the rich from the poor. He's a mindset coach, an entrepreneur, and a teacher who focuses on one thing, helping people understand that wealth begins in the mind long before it shows up in the bank. Eker's journey wasn't a straight line to success. In his early years, he jumped from one business idea to another, trying to make something work. He failed again and again until one realization changed everything. It wasn't the business that was broken, it was his thinking about money. He discovered that no matter how much you earn, if your internal beliefs about wealth are negative or limited, you'll always find a way to lose it. This discovery became the foundation of his philosophy, what he calls the money blueprint. Your money blueprint, as Eker describes it, is like the thermostat for your financial life. It's set early by your parents, your culture, and your experiences with money. If it's set too low, even if you earn more, you'll subconsciously bring yourself back down to that level. You'll sabotage your success without realizing it. On the other hand, if your blueprint is set high, like the wealthy, you'll attract, manage, and multiply money naturally. You won't fear it, you'll control it, and this control is what gives cash its power. Think about it this way. Most people treat money emotionally. They see cash as something they must earn and protect. But the rich, the ones Eker studied and modeled, see cash as energy. They use it with intention. They move it toward opportunity, not fear. To them, cash is not just a stack of bills. It's a tool to create leverage, to build influence, and to open doors that others can't even see. That's what Eker means when he says that cash is a weapon. It's not about aggression or greed. It's about strategy. The rich use cash deliberately, like a chess player making a move that leads to victory. They don't hoard it or waste it. They position it. They know exactly when to strike, when to invest, when to hold, and when to expand. When you understand your own money blueprint, you begin to see how your beliefs shape your actions. You stop asking, how do I get more money? Start asking, how do I think like someone who knows how to use money? That's the difference between the average person and the millionaire mind. The rich don't just earn cash, they direct it with purpose. They use it to build freedom, not dependence. So before we dive into how to think like the rich, remember this. It's not about working harder or even smarter. It's about thinking differently. Because once you rewire your money blueprint, you stop being controlled by money and start controlling it. And that's when cash becomes your most powerful weapon. When I say cash is a weapon, I'm not talking about aggression or greed. I'm talking about power, the kind of power that gives you control over your life, your choices, and your future. A weapon, when used with skill, can defend, protect, and conquer. It's not about chaos, it's about control. That's how the rich see cash. They understand that money, when used strategically, can be the sharpest tool in your arsenal. It's not just something to spend or save. It's something to position, something to direct, something that, when used wisely, gives you leverage over your circumstances. Most people don't think that way. For the average person, cash is simply a medium of exchange. It pays the bills, buys groceries, maybe funds a vacation once in a while. It's transactional. But for the rich, cash is transformational. It's not what money does that matters. It's what money allows. Cash gives them options. It gives them influence. It gives them speed when others are frozen by uncertainty. And that difference in mindset is everything. Let's say two people face the same opportunity. Maybe a piece of property comes on sale for a fraction of its value. The person who has no cash, even if they recognize the opportunity, can't act. They're forced to wait, to borrow, or to wish. The person with cash, on the other hand, can move instantly. They buy, they hold, they profit. Same opportunity, different outcome, because one person had a weapon ready and the other didn't. That's the secret behind the phrase, cash is a weapon. It's about being prepared to strike when the right moment comes. Harv Eker teaches that most people live in reaction mode. They work for money, they chase it, they hope it will stay. But the rich reverse that order. They make money work for them. They use it strategically. They don't ask, how much can I spend? They ask, how can I use this cash to create more freedom? That's what Eker calls a wealth file, a core belief that separates the poor from the rich. The poor think survival, the rich think leverage. Think about it. Most people wake up every day thinking about how to make more money. The rich, on the other hand, think about how to use the money they already have. It's a subtle shift, but it changes everything. When your focus moves from earning to using, you start to play the game differently. You stop reacting and start planning. You stop being controlled by money and start controlling it. Here's a simple story. Two friends earn the same salary, $5,000 a month. One spends nearly all of it on lifestyle, rent, gadgets, entertainment, always saying, I'll save when I earn more. The other lives a bit below his means, saving and investing steadily. Over time, that second person builds cash reserves. One day, an opportunity comes, maybe a small business investment or a discounted property. He acts quickly, uses his cash as leverage, and multiplies it. The first friend watches, frustrated, saying, you're lucky. But luck had nothing to do with it. It was the mindset, the choice to use cash like a weapon, not a comfort. That's the shift Harv Eker wants you to make. Stop seeing cash as something that slips through your fingers. Start seeing it as something you direct with purpose. Each dollar is a soldier. If you send your soldiers into battle without a plan, they'll be lost. But if you deploy them strategically to investments, to growth, to education, they come back multiplied. That's how wealth is built, not through luck, but through precision. And here's where the concept of liquidity comes in. Liquidity simply means having access to cash, money that isn't locked away or overcommitted. It's your flexibility fund. The rich understand the power of liquidity. They don't put every dollar into long-term investments or fancy toys. They keep a portion of their wealth liquid, ready to use, ready to move, because opportunities don't send a calendar invite. They appear suddenly, and only those with cash on hand can seize them. Let's say there's an unexpected market drop and assets are selling for half their value. The person who's cash poor, who spends everything they earn, can't buy anything. They might even panic and sell what little they have. But the person who's liquid, who's holding cash, smiles. They know this is their moment. They buy what others are desperate to sell. Months later, when the market recovers, their wealth doubles. That's the quiet power of liquidity. Eker often says that the poor play not to lose, while the rich play to win. Think about that for a second. Playing not to lose means being afraid to take risks, holding on to every dollar out of fear. Playing to win means using money intentionally, knowing that each smart move brings you closer to freedom. Liquidity is the difference between those two players. The one with cash can play offense, the one without it can only play defense. Now, what happens when you start using cash to generate more cash? That's when you truly step into the mindset of the rich. Cash isn't meant to sit still. It's meant to move, to grow, to create momentum. The wealthy understand that idle money loses value, but strategic money multiplies. They don't just save, they invest. They put their cash into vehicles that create more income, businesses, real estate, dividends, intellectual property. Here's a simple example. Let's say you're holding $10,000 in cash. You could let it sit in your account, earning almost nothing. Safe. Yes, but static. Or you could use that cash strategically. Maybe you start a small online business. Maybe you invest in a course that increases your earning potential. Maybe you buy shares in a company that pays dividends. Suddenly, that same $10,000 is working for you. It's growing, evolving, expanding. That's what the rich mean when they say, let money work for you. Most people are scared to use cash because they see it as something finite. Once it's gone, it's gone. But that's not how wealth works. Eker emphasizes that cash, when used wisely, is renewable energy. You use it to create more, and the key is to move from consumer thinking to investor thinking. Don't ask, what can I buy with this? Ask, what can this buy that brings me more? That one question changes your relationship with money forever. Think of cash as fuel. You can burn it quickly, light it up and enjoy the flash, or you can use it to power a long journey. The rich choose the second path. They allocate cash to create systems that bring continuous returns. They know that money sitting idle is potential wasted. They don't see cash as something to cling to, but as something to command. And here's another truth you talk about. The rich don't keep cash because they're afraid of losing it. They keep it because they love having options. They know that cash equals choice. It gives them the ability to act without begging, without waiting, without fear. It gives them the confidence to say no when deals aren't right and yes when opportunities are golden. The average person sees cash as security. The rich see it as strategy. That's the difference. Security says, hold on tight. And strategy says, let's plan the next move. One mindset traps you in limitation. The other frees you into creation. The wealthy think long-term. They understand cycles, that markets rise and fall, that trends shift, and that timing is everything. Having cash gives them timing power. When prices fall, they buy. When panic spreads, they invest. When others hesitate, they strike. Cash gives them the patience to wait for the right moment and the power to act when it arrives. That's why Eker insists on mastering the internal game of money before the external one, because without the right mindset, even a large income can disappear. You've seen it. People earning six figures but living paycheck to paycheck. They don't use cash strategically. They consume it emotionally. And then there are people with modest incomes who build wealth steadily. They're not smarter. They're not luckier. They simply treat cash like a weapon, something to be sharpened, protected, and used wisely. This is the heart of the millionaire mind. Cash, when used with intention, multiplies. When neglected, it vanishes. The key is awareness, knowing where your money goes, why it goes there, and how it returns. The rich ask these questions constantly. They analyze their spending not to restrict themselves, but to realign it toward growth. When you start thinking like that, you begin to see cash differently. You stop seeing it as paper and start seeing it as potential. You stop asking, do I have enough? And start asking, am I using what I have the right way? That's how you transition from making money to mastering it. Because in the end, wealth isn't measured by how much you earn. It's measured by how effectively you use what you already have. So remember, cash is not the goal. It's the gear. It's the weapon that, when handled with discipline and vision, can carve out freedom, security, and independence in your life. It's not about luck or magic. It's about mindset, strategy, and timing, the very things that define the way rich people think. When I say cash gives you the upper hand, I mean it gives you freedom, the kind of freedom most people only dream about, freedom to choose to act, to say no when something doesn't serve you. Cash is more than just security. It's the ability to take calculated risks. When you have cash, you don't move from desperation. You move from power. You can wait for the right moment instead of grabbing whatever comes your way out of fear. That's how the rich play the game. They don't play from panic. They play from position. Harv Eker often says that rich people act in spite of fear, while poor people let fear control them. That's a massive distinction. Fear never goes away. It's part of every big decision. But the difference is, when you have resources, when you have cash, you can act with fear instead of being ruled by it. You can make choices based on opportunity, not survival. That's why I always say cash equals control, control of your time, your energy, your future. Think about what happens when someone has no cash cushion, a job loss, an emergency, a medical bill, and suddenly they're forced into bad deals. They borrow with high interest, they take jobs they hate, they sell assets too soon. They move from crisis to crisis because they have no weapon to defend themselves. But a person with cash, they can breathe. They can wait, they can choose, they can look fear in the eye and say, I'm ready. That's the quiet power of liquidity. It gives you emotional and financial stability. But let me make this clear. Cash alone isn't the answer. Plenty of people have lost fortunes because they didn't have the right mindset or strategy. Without the mental foundation, cash slips away faster than it comes. That's why Eker's teachings go deeper than money management. They focus on mindset management. Because it's not just how much you have, it's how you think about what you have. Most people are held back by invisible blocks, beliefs they don't even realize they carry. These belief blocks come from childhood, from what they heard about money growing up. Phrases like money is evil, rich people are greedy, or I'll never be rich are not harmless thoughts. They become programs, part of your subconscious blueprint. And when your blueprint says money is bad, your mind will always find a way to push it away. That's what I discovered after studying thousands of people. Two people can earn the same income. One builds wealth, the other struggles forever. The difference isn't intelligence, it's the blueprint. The one with the wrong beliefs treats cash emotionally, impulsively, fearfully. The one with the right beliefs treats cash logically, strategically, powerfully.
If you've ever caught yourself thinking, I don't have enough to save, or I'll start investing when I earn more, that's your belief block talking. It's keeping you in the same financial loop, year after year. And here's the truth. It's not the amount you earn that creates wealth. It's what you do with what you earn. That's why reprogramming your money blueprint is so important.
Then comes the second barrier, your behaviors. Even if you start to think differently, your habits may still pull you back. You spend impulsively, you justify every purchase. You have no system, no reserve, no plan. You tell yourself you deserve it. But deep down, you're creating instability. Eker calls this the behavior block. The patterns that destroy your financial progress, no matter how much knowledge you gain. So how do you overcome these blocks? It starts with awareness. The moment you realize your financial results come from your programming, you can rewrite the script. Eker's approach is simple but powerful. Reprogram your blueprint and adopt the habits of the rich. You can't think poor and live rich. You have to start thinking like someone who uses money, not someone who chases it. Here are two simple actions you can take right now. First, track your cash flow. Know exactly where every dollar goes. Most people have no idea money slips through their hands because they never control it. When you start tracking, you create awareness, and awareness is power. Second, build a small cash reserve, your personal freedom fund. Even if it's just 1 month of expenses at first, it will change the way you think. You'll move from panic to calm. You'll start to feel control. And here's a mindset exercise straight from Eker's playbook. Write down a new belief statement about cash. Something powerful like, I use cash strategically to create freedom. Read it daily until it becomes natural, because your beliefs shape your behavior and your behavior shapes your results. Now let's talk about practical steps, how to think like the rich and weaponize your cash. The first step is to build a cash cushion. Aim to save a few months' worth of expenses, but don't call it savings. Call it your opportunity fund, because saving sounds defensive. Opportunity sounds empowering. This fund is not just for emergencies, it's for possibilities. When something valuable crosses your path, you'll be ready to move.
Step 2. Invest in yourself. This is the first and most powerful use of cash. Before you buy assets, build your mind. Take courses, attend workshops, read relentlessly. The more knowledge and skills you gain, the higher your earning potential. That's how you weaponize cash, by turning it into growth. The rich don't spend money to look rich, they spend money to become rich.
Step 3, make your cash work for you. This is where you shift from working for money to letting money work for you. Invest in dividend-paying stocks, rental properties, or side businesses. Eker teaches that money is energy. It must move to stay alive. When you put cash into productive systems, it multiplies. When you hoard it, it stagnates. Step 4, shift your mindset entirely. Declare to yourself, I use cash strategically, not reactively. This single declaration rewires your brain to think differently. Every time you earn, spend, or invest, you'll start to ask, is this decision moving me closer to freedom or further away? That's how the rich think. That's how they use cash like a weapon, always with purpose. If you're watching this and thinking, that sounds great, but where do I start? Here's your challenge. Pick one step today, just one. Start tracking your cash, or set aside your first $100 reserve, or write your new belief statement. Small steps create big shifts. The key is to begin. Let me tell you a quick story. I once met a man named David at one of my Millionaire Mind intensives. He was in his 40s, working a decent job, earning well, but he was always broke. Every month ended the same way, no savings, no investments, no control. He told me, Harv, I just don't make enough to save. I smiled and said, you don't save because you don't decide to. So we worked on his blueprint. He started tracking his money. He built a small cash reserve, just $1,000 at first. It seemed small, but it gave him confidence. Then he began saving 10% of every paycheck. Over time, his reserve grew to 3 months of expenses. Then one day his company offered him the chance to invest in a new project. Most of his colleagues said no, they didn't have cash. David did. He took the risk. The project succeeded and he doubled his money within a year. That moment changed him forever. He told me, for the first time in my life, I felt in control. I wasn't reacting to money anymore. I was directing it. That's what happens when you use cash as a weapon. You stop being a victim of circumstances. You start creating your own. Cash doesn't just protect you. It positions you. It allows you to strike when others are standing still. And here's the beauty of it. It's not about how much you have. It's about how you manage what you have. Even small reserves, managed with discipline and purpose, can create massive advantages. Because the moment opportunity appears, preparation decides who wins. Every wealthy person I've met shares this mindset. They don't depend on luck. They depend on readiness. They keep cash ready, not out of fear, but out of strategy. They know the world moves in cycles, opportunities rise and fall, and they stay prepared to act. Cash is your weapon because it gives you choices. It gives you confidence. It lets you face fear without panic and risk without recklessness. And when you pair that cash with the right mindset, the millionaire mind, you create unstoppable momentum. You no longer wait for the world to hand you a chance. You build your own. That's the power Harv Eker wants you to understand. Money itself is neutral. It's your blueprint, your beliefs, and your strategy that determine what it does for you. Change those and your entire financial life changes with them. Cash used wisely becomes more than a currency. It becomes your armor, your strategy, your weapon for freedom. So here's the truth. Thinking like the rich isn't about chasing more money. It's about changing how you see money. The average person earns cash and spends it. The rich, they deploy it. They use it as a weapon, precise, strategic, and powerful. When you understand this shift, everything about your financial life begins to change. Cash stops being just paper. It becomes a tool of freedom, control, and opportunity. Harv Eker's teachings remind us that wealth isn't about luck or talent, it's about mindset. When your money blueprint changes, your results follow. The moment you decide to act, to think differently, that's when your financial story begins to turn around. With the right mindset and a smart cash strategy, you move from surviving to leveraging. You stop reacting to life and start designing it. You stop working just for money and make money work for you. That's the real secret behind the phrase, cash is a weapon. It's not about aggression. It's about control, the ability to choose your next move with confidence. So if you're ready to start using your cash as a weapon for your future, start today. Write down your new belief, build your reserve, take one small step, because even one smart move in the right direction can change your entire path. And now I want to hear from you. What's your current money belief? Share it in the comments below, because awareness is the first step toward change. If this video inspired you, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an episode of Harv Eker Motivation. We've got more powerful lessons coming up to help you reprogram your money mindset and take control of your financial destiny. Remember, cash isn't just money, it's your weapon. Use it wisely.